So parents, you need to teach your children certain values. You need to instill certain things into your children. You need to watch your children and watch the kind of friends your children keep. Now, I'm not saying this to say as your parent, you're not educating your child enough, or you might say to yourself, I've taught my child about sex education. I've taught my child everything that is to know about the values of life. But there are certain things that parents don't teach their children. And I feel that this should be taken more seriously on a serious note, because most times you as a parent, you'll be in the house doing what you're doing, but you don't know what your children are being exposed to outside. I'm going to say this. When I was about 9-10 years of age, there was this girl that used to be my friend. She was, let's say, 2 years older. And she was, a very good girl, as she was portraying herself. You understand what I'm saying? Those kind of good girls where, they are reserved and all. So my mom thought, okay, she's a good person, nothing. But can you imagine that on one fateful day, the girl said, I want to see you. She came with, she came with 2 other girls, and they were like, I want to see you. And I entered into the room, and right in that instant, I could feel that something was not right. I could feel that something was very off about the whole setting. So the next thing she did was she laid on the bed and she told me to lie on top of her. I was 8, 9, and I had no idea, but I just felt in my spirit that something was not right. And she said I should lie on top of her. Then I told her, isn't that like a little bit weird to do? And she's like, well, there's nothing weird about it. People lie on each other every single time. So I sat on the bed, and she was like, she came up next to me, and the other 2 girls were giggling and laughing. And she said to me, kiss me. And I was like, kiss you? Why would I do that? And she said, if you love me, you would kiss me. And you can imagine what is going on in the mind of an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old. First and foremost, some people are going to say, some mothers will say, some fathers will say, if you're a parent, you're watching this, they're going to say, if an uncle or if a male figure tells you to kiss them, don't kiss them. But this was right in front of me, and it's a woman. It's a girl, a young girl like me, asking me, telling me, persuading me to kiss her. And the other 2 girls were like, yeah, go ahead and kiss her. And at that instant, I felt paralyzed. I was just astonished, because it felt, not only did it feel so off, but it felt weird to kiss my fellow woman. And you could see, I could see that the other 2 girls were like, go ahead, kiss her, and all that. So what I want to say is that a lot of education was being done while I was growing up, but there were things that my mother ruled out, and that was same-sex relationships. And that is what I feel, it's not a feeling, it's a requirement that parents of nowadays should teach their children. You should teach your children about same-sex relationships, lesbianism, homosexuality. At that age of 9, 10, I didn't know what to do. I was confused, because I was confronted with the fact that if it was a man, I would know I'm being abused. But this one, I'm with a girl, who is just 2 years older than me. So I didn't quite know where to place it. You can imagine that going through a girl's mind, a child's mind. This is somebody who has not been exposed to same-sex relationships. So I had no idea what I was into, what I was getting into. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that a lot of children are initiated into certain things at a certain age. And when you start seeing these fruits, when they are already in their teenage years or in their young adult age, as a parent, you begin to wonder, I did not raise you that way. I and your father, we don't do that. Where did you learn that? But these seeds are being sown into the life of these children as young as they are. And you don't know this as a parent, because what? You don't educate them well enough. At this point where the world has come to, I am of the opinion that you should educate your child better. There is nothing wrong with telling your child, yeah, if a man comes to you, if this one comes to you, as a girl, or as a boy, if a woman comes to you, sexual abuse. You should also teach your child that sexual abuse can happen within same sex. This was not only an initiation for being naughty. This was these girls trying to initiate me into lesbianism. This was these girls trying to instill in me the seed of lesbianism. And a lot of people don't know this. Now, there is also other things too that I want you as parents to teach your children, which is witchcraft. Expose your children. Tell them what is witchcraft and how they should not get into certain stuff. Same sex, lesbianism, homosexuality. Teach them. Tell them that a lot of things are happening, because a lot of things are happening. It's not funny any longer. I'm only mentioning witchcraft and homosexuality because that is in the umbrella of what I want to talk about in the next video, in this video, extensively. But I want you to watch out for my next video if you won't see it in this video. So it's not a joke. It's not. So parents, you need to be extensive when talking to your children about certain things. And it's not just only about opposite sex, same sex too. Educate your children. Witchcraft. The world is going haywire. The world is no longer as principled as you used to look at it when you, as a parent, when you were young like them, when you were of their age. So a lot of education needs to go down. Teach your children about politics. Educate your children about what it means to be used by somebody. Teach your children what abuse means: domestic abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. Teach your children what it means to be taken for granted. These are the things that you need to educate your child on. It's not a child's joke. So if you're a parent out there, you need to do better. This is a wake-up call to you. So if you're also thinking what happened towards the end of the whole thing, let me tell you, I stood there with that girl and I refused to kiss that girl. I got up from the bed. Then I had no idea. I had no wisdom on what was called lesbianism or homosexuality. I just remember that it felt so awkward, so weird, because I had never seen it in movies. I had seen movies where the guy kisses the girl and vice versa, but I've never seen anybody do that. I've never seen my parents do that. I never saw my elder ones do that. So I knew it was off. I knew something was just off about what that girl was telling me to do at that age. So what I did was I got her from the bed. I told her, look, I can't do this. And she's like, why? If you don't do this, you're weird. I'm going to tell everyone in school that you're weird. I said, no problem. You can tell everyone in school that I'm weird, but I'm not going to do this because it feels so off. Why would you tell me to kiss you? I've never felt that level of embarrassment in my life. That was like the peak of embarrassment. I was so embarrassed. I'm telling you, I was so embarrassed because I was ashamed. It was something that took me unaware. So the next thing I did was I got up and I tried to make my way for the door. Note, these other two girls have already had the door locked. And my mom was not around. She was, I think, in the market or doing something. And so they were like, take off your clothes. We want to see how you look like. We want to, kiss you. We want you to lie on us naked, each and every one of us. And these girls were of that age. The only older person was that girl who was about 2 years older. So you can imagine. And I told them, I said, if you don't open this door right now, I'm going to shout. Because they were like, why are you going to shout? What are you going to tell people when people come? I'm like, this is very, very weird. I told them I want to go. And they were like, okay. The other girl, she had already developed bigger breasts than me. So she actually put the key in her bra. And I remember that instant that in my house, in the flat that I was staying with my mom, my parents, there was a back door, which they were not aware of. And the back door luckily was open. So it was from the back door. I dashed out from the bedroom, past the back door, and that was how I got out of the house. And I got out of the house. I left them in that house. And I went straight to my mom's shop. And that was where I was till evening. And my mom had no idea. I never told my mom this. So this is a child of my age, 8, 9 year old, having a very strange encounter and not being able to share with even her mother because she's scared of what the mother is going to say. She has no idea what she experienced, but what is my mother going to say? And I told no one until I was 13, 14, 15. And I started hearing about, lesbianism, gayism, and all that. And I was like, okay, so this is what these girls were trying to do to me. See, you can imagine. And at that age of 13, 14, 15, I started telling my friend, one of my, friends then, and she was like, those girls were lesbians and all that. So imagine those girls of that age being a lesbian, being, practicing lesbian acts at those age. So it's something that you parents need to take a look at and try to be better at, because this world is not a funny place, and it's out not for you because they know they can't get you. They are out for your children, and you all need to be careful.